So I'm still on the graven image. In the 21st century, the graven image of the globe is a form of modern idolatry. When we started on this topic, we talk about idolatry. Our people are based on worshiping idolatry. Like some people worship trees, they worship images. Some people also worship the sun. And we did a teaching on that last week, whereby they say the sun is the one in control of everything in the planet. The moon is also the one in control, though the sun is considered to be the one controlling everything. So we look into that. Now we are still carrying on with the theory of Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton theory, he said the groundwork for what would be later the greatest deception in history. Newton also believed in magical power. You know, they believe in magic kingdom. Magic kingdom is basically originated in a Luciferian belief, where they practice not only science as they claim, that there are some powers behind what they do practice. Basically sorcery, witchcraft. And when you see a lot of people claim to do magic, it's not a trick. There is a power behind what they are doing. And that power comes from Satan himself. He's the master deceiver. That is why people like Isaac Newton, who claim to be the scientist, yet at the back they are using magical power. He adopted even the theory of Giordano Bruno, who invented a lot of things which is not scientifically, but is based on magic, based on sorcery. Now, Newton also believed in magical power. He claimed to be able to lift up a substance from the ground or the floor, and it float on the surface. Now, what kind of science is that? We know those that do transcend meditation, they do the same thing under the influence of demonic power at work. That is why a non-human being is capable of lifting up an object without touching it or pulling it or lifting it up. Impossible. There is some power involved. When we look at Jesus, when he was on earth, he spoke to the tree, the fig tree that did not have a fruit. And Jesus said, "You tree, you're not going to bear fruit anymore." And the next day, when Jesus and his disciples, they walked past that same fig tree, they found out that it is dried and withered. So Satan is always imitating what God does. But whatever Satan does is always a failure. That is what Isaac Newton does. And he believed that he can speak to an animal, and the animal will do exactly what he wants to do. I've never seen in the history of the world that a man can speak to a goat or a cow or a donkey and tell them to run, and they run without training. So Isaac Newton said he can tell them without even training them, and they will obey him. Why is he able to do that? Because he is involved in a Luciferian belief. in a satanic kind of belief where they use demon spirit to do and lift those objects and compel animals to obey what they have to obey. We can give example in the Bible when Balaam was going to curse Israel. You know, he was riding a donkey. And then all of a sudden, because God Almighty didn't want Balaam to go and curse Israel, Israel can never be cursed. Israel is blessed. Anyone who bless Israel is blessed. Whoever curse Israel is cursed. And we can see example in Balaam. When he was going to that specific place to curse Israel, an angel of the Lord came and blocked the donkey. The donkey refused to move because they were terrified of angels. And then he tried to beat the donkey. The donkey spoke up. Why are you beating us? Why do you beat me now? But you know, when the donkey spoke, this man found it as a strange thing. You know, he himself spoke to the donkey because God allowed the donkey to speak and God allowed the donkey to understand him. Now, Satan is an imitator. The same thing like Isaac Newton is doing. He is copying, and the devil is copying what the Bible and its teaching is telling us. So this is practice of diabolical powers, which originated from Satan himself. And Newton also believed that the globe, as previously stated, that without gravity, it would have been impossible to make people believe that they live in the globe, in the earth. He said without gravity, people will not be able to believe that they live on earth. What kind of nonsense is that? In the book of Genesis, God created the heavens and the earth. He created the moon, the sun, the stars, the Jupiters, and everything in the planet. He created the earth, the vegetation, the rivers, the waters, the lakes, and the ocean. Because God is so powerful, wherever God speaks, it shall happen. If God said, let there be vegetation, it came to pass. Let there be waters surrounding the land, it does happen. And you imagine, if the earth is rotating, you know, when there is a possibility, you go underneath, and there is water underneath. Why is the water not kind of dropping down? If at all there is gravity, that means the water, as the earth is turning, everything is turning in the planet, it will pour out. And not only that, these planets will be bumping to each other. If there was gravity, you know, wherever there's gravity, you throw a stone according to what they believe, the stone come down. Why is that not happening where there is the sun, the moon, and the stars? That means there's a lie and deception in this kind of belief. Because they are guided, controlled, and manipulated by Lucifer, and they have indoctrinated many people today on earth to believe a lie. According to the Bible, God's ways of the world is different from the scientific way. God's ways are higher than our ways. The way He does things is totally different. So the scientists have got a lot of theory, but they are not capable to change anything on earth, because everything God created belongs to God, and God has total control of everything on earth. So however, the globe point of view, they consider that by the very nature, implicity, and biblical, and is rooted in the doctrine and the teaching of demons. The Bible does not respond to whatever things that some of the scientists are telling us today. Because science, they deal with object, nature, and matters. They don't deal with something supernatural. So how can this man be able to lift things up from the floor and then drop things down? In science, there's a lot of testing in a laboratory, and they have to come with a result to see that what they have tested is true. But now, what will the scientists say concerning what Isaac Newton has been propagating? How will the science explain how objects are lifted up, not even touching it, something that contains a certain force that lift up the thing? The laboratories cannot deal with such things. Impossible. Because this is a spiritual thing. How is it all? Why are the things fit together? If we can fairly and easily recognize Darwinism, evolution, it is not simply a Luciferian doctrine and teaching. Even this theory of Charles Darwin, there have been numerous death and killing and racism in that very theory. Science itself does not contain racism. Everybody from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from America, they can come together to test things in a laboratory or to search for some medication for a virus that has come up in the world. They sit together. There is no discrimination because they use their brain to find out information or a cure for a particular sickness or virus that has attacked people in the earth. For instance, the virus that we heard recently, COVID, all the scientists sat together, though there is discrepancy in the thing that they are doing concerning the old medication. Some of these injections that people have, it has caused death. You see, that's why science is limited. You cannot base your trust continuously on science. Because why did the COVID vaccine, why didn't it make people get better? People who have been injected with COVID vaccine, they are still transmitting the disease to other people. That means the vaccine was useless. It wasn't good at all. If I was vaccinated, I can still catch the virus. I know there's some medication or vaccine that was developed. When you take it, it prevents you from getting that particular sickness. Like you can have like malaria vaccine. You can have a typhoid vaccine. It will prevent you from having typhoid. But COVID vaccine, you can still catch it. You can still transmit it. That means we cannot fully trust in science. Science is based on theory. Sometimes it works, sometimes it fails. So that's why I don't believe in the theory of Charles Darwin. Is a doctrine of Lucifer. The teaching that is mass and guise of humanistic science. And it goes back to a false cosmology. of Copernicanism, which state the assumption of gravity. And that is what this man, Isaac Newton, he copied it from these people that believe that there is gravity. In any case, there is no substantial evidence that they can prove to us today in the world regarding gravity. Because we dispute these ideas, when you go, might be far away, some 1,000 kilometers, and you happen to fall down in a space, you're gonna float, you're not gonna come down on the earth. That means the theory of gravity is just a deception, is illusion that is trying to confuse the mind of people today. I'm almost going to summarize. We must assume that there is an invisible force holding everything in the planet fast to it. That's what Isaac believed. He believed that the force of gravity is the one that holds everything together. But we have just said that is not possible, because a man in a rocket, when he's in the space, and then when he tries to come down, he's gonna float. That means there's no presence of gravity as Isaac Newton claimed to be. That theory is null and void. There is no evidence. If those rockets and people that are going to the rocket, if they jump out of the rocket and they come right down on earth, then we believe that there's gravity. If they jump and they are floating, where is the gravity? And that is what Isaac Newton believed in. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fabrication. This is a complete lie. God controls everything in the universe. Because God is supernatural, there is nothing that is impossible with God. If God said the earth will just rotate, the planet, the stars will move, and that is what He will do. Because the supernatural power of God controls everything in the universe. Now, let me conclude with this. I've already talked about the rocket launch in the moon, as they claim. When the astronaut come out of the rocket, they seem to be floating in the space. And why are those planets not falling or bumping into each other? That's a question. If you're a scientist, answer this question. If at all there's gravity, those things will not stay in one specific place. They could have been changing all around, dropping, bumping, knocking each other, you know. So that won't be possible. Yet gravity was discovered or formed out of Luciferian doctrine that crafted heliocentric, mean having or representing the sun as the center, as in the acceptable astronomical model of solar system. That means a view of Copernicus and Darwinism. So what Charles Darwin said, there is no evidence. As I conclude, if the theory of Charles Darwin was true, then we possibly, as human beings, we could have changed into something else. Because when you talk about evolution, it means things are continuously changing. So we would have been changed into something that we don't even know. Well, thank you, viewers, for listening. We're going to carry on next time.